right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Curtin Alumni Asia Inspiring Talks, Reimagining Asia and the Post-Pandemic Future. We are honored to have speakers and participants from across Asia, including Singapore, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, and Indonesia. For the first time, Curtin Alumni Networks will discuss the post-pandemic future. The COVID-19 outbreak leads to a crisis with considerable losses in terms of health and the global economy with high social costs. The post-pandemic world will continue in 2021. Amidst all the trouble caused by the crisis, it has given us the opportunity to redefine and re-strategize several aspects of everyday life. Many lessons can be learned and can be shared to inform how communities and government address the pandemic in various sectors: education, business, health, and environment. This is a joint event of 5 alumni chapters of Curtin University. Curtin University Alumni Chapter of Indonesia. As the host of this webinar, we also have Curtin Alumni Malaysia Chapter, Curtin University Alumni Singapore Chapter, Curtin University Alumni Chapter of Sri Lanka, and also Curtin Alumni Association of Hong Kong, supported by Australia Global Alumni Indonesia and Curtin University in Western Australia. The 4 guest speakers will present their views on Asia and the post-pandemic future from various perspectives: business, economy, information, communication and technology, and health. We truly hope this webinar could inspire you. All right, we now will listen to the opening speech from Professor Simon Looney. He's the Pro Vice Chancellor and President and also CEO at Curtin University Malaysia. Professor Simon Looney.
Okay, thank you very much, Irene. Can I get a thumbs up, Irene, that you can hear me okay? All good? Okay, fantastic. So I think a year ago we were pre-pandemic when we had the original session between the Malaysian and the Indonesian alumni. And I don't think any of us expected the year that has passed since then. And it is truly a life-changing experience for us all, both on a personal level and also on a work level. But I think there's a lot of really good things that have come out of the pandemic. And off camera, we were talking a little bit about actual connectivity and the ability to quickly connect with people across the globe. And to see this, this morning's talk with so many different alumni groups coming together, I think this is the kind of impact that the pandemic's actually had, positive impact that the pandemic's had. And, you know, to Harry and Jane, who I know when we were talking over a year ago about these kinds of events and links, it's a real credit to you that you've been able to do this and to grow it. And I'm, you know, really excited about seeing this because, as some people would know, I've been very much the architect of the One Curtin initiative with Curtin staff, and talking about Curtin University with all of its campuses around the globe as actually being one and One Curtin. So I think this is a tremendous initiative, and I think today's talk is testament. It's proof that these links are growing, that they're becoming real, that there's going to be real productivity from them. I wanted, if I can indulge, I just wanted to talk a little bit about Curtin Malaysia, because obviously I'm very close to that and what's happening a little bit around that, so that people are aware across the globe of some of the things that are happening. So we're actually in our 3rd semester of teaching online. And when you think about that, it was unimaginable 2 years ago or even a year ago that we would be teaching our students online for 3 semesters. So our staff managed to cope really quite well and transfer across to the online mode. And in the main, most of the students have as well. And when we survey students, you know, we get some students, about a third will say that, you know, I don't really like online at all. but around about half are actually happy. So we're seeing a change in the way people are prepared to engage with one another, to learn and to develop their skills. And I think that that's a good thing. I've seen that amongst my staff. I've seen that in the way we act. It's also enabled us to bring in experts from around the globe for different events, because we don't necessarily require a day and a half of flying and, the costs involved in that. So it's given us a whole lot of opportunities. And on campus, it's given us a chance to do things that we just couldn't do with students around. So we've done some major repairs on campus that required closing off around about half the campus from students and staff. And so we've actually, in a way, taken a quantum leap in some of the things that are actually happening on the ground. And that makes us really excited and looking forward to, semester 2 and to 2022 and what might actually happen, taking what we've learnt from the online environment and the pandemic, along with the improvements that we have on campus. As well as that, we've developed a strategy which we called a research-led recovery to the pandemic, and we've boosted our higher degrees by research numbers by around 40%. So Curtin Malaysia has, a truly significant number of the research students of Curtin University now based around the Curtin Malaysia campus. Some of those are on campus, some of those live in Sarawak, and some of those students actually are living in other parts of the world, including Vietnam, including Indonesia, and also one or two who are in Australia as well. So I've got a feeling that post-pandemic, we're going to have a greater sense of globalization and connectivity that doesn't necessarily need to be physical. And I think what we'll end up with is a blended type of global activity where we're actually quite comfortable to have events online, and we actually see them as a realistic alternative to the face-to-face seminars and conferences and meetings that we've had in the past. And I think that gives us something to really look forward to and be excited about, because it gives us more flexibility and more access to people. There's some people who just can't travel for whatever reason. It may be something to do with their personal circumstances or their health or their family or indeed their work. And so it enables those people to travel virtually. And I think that's a very exciting development that we can take and be positive about the pandemic. Lastly, I wanted to mention and just say to everyone that's here that the alumni network is extremely valuable in many, many ways, both to you personally, but also collectively as a group. The better that Curtin University does, the more value that holds for you as an individual as well as a group. So I think any efforts that are put into alumni, you can see that that's developing not only the group, whether it be a particular country's chapter or a collective of chapters like this, but also you as an individual, because your university, because as alumni, you are the university, you're part of the university, you're an intrinsic part of everything we do, that value to you actually grows. So not only have you got the degree, but you're becoming something, it's an investment, it's something that's actually growing and becoming more valuable over time. So I'd like to thank the organisers, in particular, Jane and Harriet, and the work that they've done bringing these groups together. I'd like to thank my staff, and I can see Jose and some others, I think Nicholas is here as well, who have actually been supportive in the background. I think that their roles are very, very important as well. But also to all of the people who are here online, just having your presence is invaluable to the actual growth of not only the alumni, but the university itself. So I wish you all the best for today. Unfortunately, I can't stay because I'm in the middle of an AGM of private universities in Malaysia and I need to go back to that. but I'm sure it'll be a fantastic day, and I look forward to the reports that I hear back through everyone. So good luck and stay safe. Thank you.
Have a nice
Thank
meeting.
you so much, Professor Simon Linde. And now we have an opening speech from Mr. Heribertus Rinto Wibowo. He's the president of Curtin University Alumni Chapter of Indonesia as the host of today's webinar. Mr. Harry?
Yeah, thank you very much, Irene. First of all, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us in this very first Curtin Alumni Asia Inspiring Talks, Reimagining Asia in the Post-Pandemic Future. Thank you very much. We have Professor Simon Leonik here, who already delivered the opening remarks. Thank you very much, Prof. Simon. Finally, this idea, this initiative that we discussed like a year ago with Jane is like already we can realize it today. And welcome Bu Josephine, the previous president, our mentor. Thank you very much for joining us today. And also Ms. Jose Hooper from Curtin Alumni and Community Relation in Perth. Welcome. And Bu Wahyu Kusumaning Tias from Australia Global Alumni in Indonesia. Thank you very much for joining us today, Bu Tias. And also Bu Ayu Restila from Western Australia Government Office in Jakarta. Thank you very much. So on the list of attendees, and it's like from around the world, we have from Philippines, from Hong Kong, Singapore, Australia, we have from Malaysia as well, Sri Lanka. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Special thanks for the speakers today. We have four amazing speakers: Jane from Malaysia, Mr. Edmund from Singapore, and also Mr. Lakmal from Sri Lanka, and Irene from as moderator, and also Bu Yuni from Indonesia that will present various topics related to the post-pandemic future. This is the initiative that we had discussion with the other chapters, with Lakmal and also Edmund and Jane and also Ruby like a couple of months ago. The first discussion actually about what if we have this collaboration together, event at this webinar that can provide alumni with opportunities to share their knowledge, experiences, and skills in their professional fields with other alumni and communities. We hope that we will have more upcoming webinars, will be more in the future with more topics and more alumni with more speakers. So I would invite you all, if you are interested in being speakers, also you want to share your experience, your knowledge, I think it will be a great opportunity for us here. And this initiative actually also aims to develop and maintain and strengthen professional linkages and partnership between Curtin Alumni Asia chapters in 5 countries, Malaysia, Singapore, Sri Lanka, Hong Kong, and Indonesia, also Curtin University and other relevant institutions. And we hope that it can connect alumni to each other across disciplines and professions, organizations and institutions, and geographic areas in order to share good practice and create opportunities for collaboration. So we hope that it also can showcase the Curtin University's excellence as a global provider of high quality education and research through their alumni. I hope that you can get inspired from this webinar and enjoy and stay safe and stay healthy. So thank you very much for coming again, and I hope we can see you again like in the next webinars. So thank you very much, everyone. Get back to you, Irene.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Harry, for the opening speech. And we also have Mrs. Wahyu Kusumaningtyas joining us. She's the Senior Manager, Alumni and Digital Communication of Australia Global Alumni Indonesia. Mrs. Wahyu.
Hello, good morning.
Hi.
Okay, good morning, and thank you to all distinguished speakers, guests, and alumni chapter president. And also good morning to all the organizers of this event. Good morning, Bapak, Ibu, and teman-teman sekalian. I'm delighted to speak on behalf of the Australia Global Alumni team in Indonesia, and I'd like to take this opportunity to extend a warm welcome to you all. It's a great honor to be surrounded by Curtin alumni and distinguished guests here this morning. And I note the attendance of Curtin alumni from various regions in Asia. And some of you are alumni who may have benefited from Australian government scholarship programs. Some of you might have paid your own way to study in Australia or with support from your government scholarship. In irrespective of funding source for your educational experience, your presence during this extraordinary time at today's virtual event reaffirms your enthusiasm to stay connected and desire to contribute positively to the Australian alumni community. So the Australia Global Alumni recognises the lasting, powerful impact of Australian alumni connections. Some considerable efforts are being made to enhance our engagement with broader, more inclusive and stronger Australian alumni community who are proud to maintain their connections with Australia. And as part of these efforts, the Australian Embassy in Indonesia has recently updated our alumni engagement strategy specific for Indonesia. The objectives of the strategy are to recognise the achievements of alumni, to support Australia-Indonesia business linkages and initiatives, to build a network of active ambassadors and advocates, and to provide a platform for and opportunities for people to connect and build personal and professional networks and institutional links in the region. So under those initiatives, there are wealth of opportunities for Australian alumni to, for example, participate in professional development activities as they arise, contribute to their communities, professions, and organizations through our alumni grant schemes, and also to meet and build connections with an expanded alumni network, government representatives, and business leaders from Australia and Indonesia and beyond. These initiatives also provide Australian alumni the opportunities to, like join guest lectures by visiting Australian academics and be a member of the Australia-Indonesia Alumni Forum on LinkedIn, which facilitates connection, networking, open business opportunities, chances to share knowledge and, seek employment as well as take part in professional development activities on a national and global scale. Now, allow me to quote from one of our Australian alumni from Indonesia, who once said that alumnus is one of the many titles that you bear, and it's also a title that lends definition to your life in certain aspects. And this is true, and I think we all agree that you, as alumni from an Australian university, are a potential resource for Australia and your country. You are bearers of Australian knowledge and have a sound awareness of Australian culture traits and can convey the message to your fellow citizens about Australia better and more convincingly than perhaps an Australian can. So alumni are also often referred to as boomerangs, as they can serve as a dynamic resource, especially when it comes to attract talent and branding of Australian universities. And more importantly, you are also a resource that we may have not been fully harnessed. That is what today's event hosted by Curtin University is all about. And I'm glad that we are gathered here virtually, and I hope that this event will be a catalyst for building a stronger professional, cultural and social network among alumni and between you and your institution. So on behalf of Australia Global Alumni Team in Indonesia, I'd like to express our heartfelt thanks to Curtin University for graciously hosting this alumni event. And to everyone in this Zoom, I trust that you will all have a productive and successful discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Wang, for joining us today. We also have Ms. JC Hopper joining us. She is the Curtin Alumni and Community Relations from Curtin University.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. So yes, my name's Jose Hooper, and I am lucky enough to be the manager of the Alumni and Community Relations team in Perth. I know everyone's based all over the world, but I am in Perth on Whadjuk Noongar country, so I would like to do an acknowledgement. So I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which I am today, and I am welcoming you to via Zoom, and pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging, and thank them for allowing us to teach and learn on Curtin Perth, and to open our community up to those in our various countries throughout the world where our Curtin campuses are located. So I just want to echo Simon's thoughts, just to say how absolutely fantastic it is to see all of our international chapters coming together in this way. It is incredible, and congratulations to Harry and Jane for putting this together and for engaging all of our other chapter presidents. So really amazing job. We've got a new Chief Advancement Officer on our team. Tim McInnes started in December in 2019. Some of you would have met him already. He's attended various talks such as the Singapore AGM last year. And since Tim's come on board, it's really reimagined how we do things in alumni relations. And he's allowed us to take a little bit of time to pause, I suppose, and rethink how we do things to ensure we're really strategic in the way we go about things and work with our alumni chapters. So one thing that we're looking to do is what can we do for our alumni chapters, and what can our alumni do for Curtin University to help advance its mission to change lives and communities through education and research. So there are lots of incredible ways that our alumni can support the university, and there are so many things. And I know Curtin Malaysia's recently helped or is helping a student recruitment activity, which is absolutely fantastic. You know, our alumni are huge advocates, talking to others to come and study at the university. They support current students through mentoring. They come and talk to our students. They help us connect with industry, advise on different directions, or give us advice on what we should be teaching in our courses. And they're also incredible in supporting our different fundraising activities. So we're looking into that, and we will be really thinking about how we do things more effectively going forward. But right now, our little team in Perth, Harry and some of the other chapter presidents know that in the past years we've had 4 alumni coordinators, so each chapter would have someone dedicated to support them. But right now we've got such a small team of 2. So it's just absolutely incredible to see that these sorts of activities are continuing to happen with little support from us. And so we really appreciate that. And it's amazing to see we've got 65 people online, and we've done, you know, I can't take any credit for coordinating this today at all. You know, Harry and Jane have done an amazing job. So it's wonderful to see that you're all pushing forward and continuing on, you know, which is absolutely amazing. So I've got a few updates from the alumni team. I know I've only got 5 minutes, so I'll go through these quite quickly if that's okay, Harry and Jane. Cool. So there's been a few big updates. One in particular are our Alumni Awards. So you'll know that they're normally hopefully you know that they're normally held in October. And last year we combined it with our John Curtin Medal Ceremony, which has been going for 22 years. So that was absolutely fantastic. And it was wonderful to have Josephine Ratner, who is the former president of Indonesia, there in attendance. What we're thinking about doing is changing our Alumni Awards to happen in February, soon after our February graduations. We think that this is a really nice time, and I'll explain why in a moment, because it piggybacks off our graduation ceremonies. It's a wonderful time of year, and it means that what we would like to do is hold another really big event in October, this is something that, or in August, September each year, and this is something that's happened very recently. So what we'd like to do this year is launch a big alumni event in Perth. This year, unfortunately, it can't be streamed online because of various reasons, but what we hope to do in the future is have 2 big alumni events per year that are university-wide, and one would be in August, September. We would get really incredible speakers to come along and share their experiences. And as I said, this year we won't be able to stream online, but we do really hope that in the future we will be able to. And how amazing would it be to have this available to our campuses, and we have events based around, you know, live streaming at each of our global campuses, so alumni in the different locations can come together and be involved in our event here in Perth. So that's something that we hope that you can look forward to in 2022 around August, September. For anyone in Perth, the event this year will be in October, and we've got some really amazing speakers lined up, which I can't announce yet. So that means that we'll have 2 big alumni events 6 months apart, and we hope that we'll make this as global as possible going forward. So I encourage everyone to nominate inspiring alumni for the awards, and Indonesia, in particular, have nominated people in the past few years and who have won awards, and that's been absolutely amazing. So we'd love to see that from all of our global locations. We've got a big annual fundraising campaign that's happening this year, and I am so proud of it. It's basically to support Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander mature-aged women to come and study at Curtin. So this particular fundraising activity, we want to raise as much funds as possible to allow as many mature-aged Aboriginal women to come and study at Curtin, and we hope that we will be able to implement other supporting programs like mentoring and a full-time staff member to really support these women. So everyone will be hearing more about that in the coming months. My colleague Caroline Robson and her team are so flat out at the moment developing a new website. So this is going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to realign with Curtin's website. We'll be showcasing volunteer stories, donor stories, alumni achievement stories. We'll have events, really interesting information on there. And so we hope that this will be our first phase, will be launched in April. So stay tuned for that. That'll be absolutely amazing. Just to wrap up, there's I've really appreciated the patience of all of our chapter presidents while we have such a small team in Perth, and I'm delighted to let you know that we've got Anna Eisenhower, one of our wonderful colleagues, returning from parental leave in May, and she will have a portion of her time dedicated to supporting our international chapters, and our international engagement and our new strategic way going forward. So I appreciate everyone's patience while we are short-staffed in Perth, but we do want to make sure that we're giving value to our global graduates and that we can work with you to support Curtin's global mission to change lives and communities. And so, yeah, we absolutely look forward to working with you on all of that. And I think that's pretty much it from me. I know I've gone over time, but I hope that's what you're after. And again, this is so amazing. Our alumni are incredibly important to the university, and it's just fantastic to see that you're all connected here today. I don't know if anyone has any questions, or I know we probably have to steam ahead. So if anyone does have any questions, please reach out to Harry and he can ask me and I can share them with you after.
All right. Thank you, Giselle. Exciting news. We will all look forward to participating in this global alumni event in 2022. All right. I will introduce you all the guest speakers for today. We have 4 speakers. Firstly, we have Lakmal Embuldeniya from Sri Lanka joining us. Lakmal, do you want to say hi to all of us? All right, and next we also have Edmund Singh from Singapore.
Hey everyone, thanks Irene.
We also have Jane T from Malaysia.
Hi guys, thanks for being here.
And also Mrs. Luputuh Mahyuni from Indonesia.
Hello.
And I'll be the moderator of today's event. All right, for the first part of this webinar, we will have Lakmal Embuldeniya as a speaker. He will talk about the transformation for sustained in post-COVID era. He's a professional working on numerous customer-centric environments for 15 years, visiting lectures and also ICT enthusiasts to develop ICT industry globally. His current position is he's the Assistant General Manager, Global Pre-Sales, Delivery and Support Services at Tech1 Global, and he's also the President of Curtin Alumni Sri Lanka Chapter. Lakmal, thank you for joining us. The time is yours now.
It's my pleasure, Irene, and let me share my screen and start the presentation. And first, I would like to thank Harry and team and this opportunity which you have created and for the invitation. Okay, so let's look at this transformation of sustenance. Of course, this is not a very new topic when it comes to the digital transformation consultants and so forth, because when it comes to these modern workplaces and trying to bring in more people into the digital space and work towards say a single goal, of course, we were trying to get this thing into the minds of people and the workers and employers and employees for a long time. But actually, with the post with the pandemic situation, of course, it has brought this into the number one priority of most of the organizations, where they have started transforming themselves to work from home because they had no option. Of course, you may have noticed in certain places the digital transformation was driven by there was some options like CEO, CIO, or COVID-19. Of course, the correct answer there was COVID-19, because when it comes to the transformation, neither of other, not that everybody was in the same mindset, but COVID-19 actually opens the eyes of the people, eyes of the employers to go beyond what they are kind of currently doing. So hope you all have some idea what I am presenting here. So this is basically a survival kit that usually when you go out onto adventures, you would bring it with you. How this works. So basically, for each and every activity, the stars that whatever things that you encounter in at your adventures, so you would use either of these tools to make sure that okay, you are survived during that adventure period. But we have realized that during the COVID-19, we have kind of changed the toolkit which we already had in our hands for a long time. It includes many things like a laptop, iPad, or maybe a mobile smartphone and certain other things which were on top of your desk every day. So that it took some time for us to realize that okay, this is the way forward. So my whole idea on this particular topic is based on this concept of okay, you have a survival kit where you can continue your work for whenever you want to. So why are we in need of a toolkit? Of course, when it comes to digital transformation, so we need this toolkit for 5 different reasons: work from anywhere, monitor progress, develop workflows, delegate tasks, and eliminate physical paper. Elimination of physical paper is one of the crucial activities when it comes to this. You mean we have experience? I mean, our organization, which is across 6 different countries, we realize the one and only time that we need to access to the office is where we need to look into a physical paper. It can be a contract, it can be a personal document, or maybe invoice, or so and so forth. So we realize, okay, elimination of paper is one of the key things that you have to do. And there are a couple of things that you have to look into when it comes to this. But let's talk about all of these 5 areas, how we overcome this. Work from anywhere. As this is one of the testimonies, so that 5 chapters coming together and doing a session which is important for everybody without even coming into one single place. So we can work from anywhere. Yeah, if I'm to kind of show you, okay, what I am looking at is basically I'm not even at home today. I'm kind of at an excursion, and what I'm looking at is a couple of kind of series of mountains at this particular moment. But still, I'm joining with you and giving my opinion on the sustenance with the transformation. Of course, when it comes to the transformation, the working from anywhere concept, so of course there are certain things that we have to look into. So this comes from the principles of modern workplaces, which is a concept which was introduced a couple of years back, about 5-6 years back. But yet we are yet to kind of embrace these things along with this COVID-19. So mainly, when it comes to modern workplaces, there are three main areas: focus, productivity, health, and happiness. So let's look at, okay, what focus is about. So when it comes to focus, it talks about the productivity, health, and happiness. So every person who are employee or whomever who's having their own entrepreneurial journey have to make sure that, okay, you use your time productively. So when it comes to the productivity, you can work from anywhere, do a lot of things out of digital workspaces and so on and so forth. It's very important. And secondly, the health. Of course, if you are healthy, then definitely you can work more, and you will be providing more and more focus into the work, as well as you will be going in correct path to happiness. So most of us who experience this COVID-19, I mean, as Sri Lankans, we were put into quarantine or basically lockdown for about almost 3 to 4 months. So one of the key things I realized was that, okay, now previously most of the people have used to spend many hours at offices, more than 8 hours, sometimes 12, 14 hours at offices. The time that they spent with the family was very minimal. But during those lockdowns, we have noticed, of course, it was difficult at the very beginning of the lockdowns, but then later we have realized, okay, you're spending time with your family, you have kids, your spouses, and so on, and your parents. It's a pretty much an enjoyable time, and that brings you happiness. Secondly, the productivity specifically. When it comes to productivity, it talks about three different things: effective office designs, availability, and collaboration. So effective office designs, okay, even today, even after these lockdown periods and so on and so forth, of course, we are kind of now going into different type of offices. You can't have people sit next to each and every one, so you have to keep 1.5 meter apart from each individual. And the same time, you have to wear face masks and have hand sanitizers, foot sanitizers, and so on and so forth. So of course, now it's right time, so you can design the office spaces to make sure that, okay, we face similar scenarios, similar pandemics or similar things in the future effectively. And second, availability. Of course, during the COVID-19 period, availability was not a much of an issue because everybody was at home and nobody was allowed outside home, so the availability was a factor. But when it comes to the day-to-day life, so of course you have to make sure that, okay, you maintain a certain amount of period of availability for the work. Let's see, okay, how we can do it. And the same time, I mean, some of you may have experienced during the lockdown periods, so it made us kind of run to get some groceries and either try to catch the delivery man and so on and so forth. So you have to kind of sometimes drop in out of the meetings and go and get them, because it is also important to make sure that the food is on the table before you start moving on top of it. And the collaboration. Let's talk about collaboration later, because I have a couple of slides on top of it. And finally, the health and happiness. Of course, we have to make sure whatever we do, we have a mechanism of movement and mechanism of flexibility. And you should know, okay, what is the purpose of having all of this? Because ultimately, you're putting food on the table, and at the same time, you have to make sure that, okay, you manage your parents, kids, and your spouse, and at the same time, all of the household chores without even impacting on top of them. Of course, this is the old way. So you have a cubicle and so on and so forth. But with the open office concept, we even went out of the cubicle concept, and everybody is sitting wherever they want and so on and so forth. What would be the present and the future? Of course, now with the technologies and the advancement of different digital transformation components, concepts, now with the people, the devices, and the enterprise-grade solutions, we can simply come out of the office and make sure that you can work from anywhere. So that's the main concept. So, and at the same time, so this is purely from the ICT perspective. So you can go for SaaS-based software as a service solutions and kind of get away from the on-premises solutions as much as possible with the compliance to the regulations and the other legal requirements of your industry. But make sure that, okay, everything can be managed without any interference in physical. Of course, where we want to be, it's mainly mobile cloud first world. So at the end of the day, it will make sure that, okay, the mobility is there and it allows you to work from anywhere. Right. So when it comes to this, I mean, one of the key tools that which comes to our mind, and okay, what we need to look from these tools are business process automation. So when it comes to business process automation tools, there are enough and more outside in the markets provided by many key principals like Microsoft, Oracle, Google, and so on and so forth. And at the same time, there are certain other players in the market. So one of the key things that we want to understand, okay, how to map these business automation tools with the day-to-day activities. It's basically you cannot convert the physical office into the digital world because there is a requirement of business re-engineering, which people have understood during the last 1 year or about 15 months, of course. So this is to give you a glimpse of, okay, how and what are the things that you have to look into when it comes to the this kind of environments. So number one, workspace for each employee. Of course, at office you have a desk and also and so forth. So you have all of whatever comes into your place, physical documents and so on and so forth comes to you, which maybe inbox and outbox. The same concept has to come into this space as well. So simply you can create certain tasks, okay, comes to you and assigned to you, and you take actions on top of it. You can simply maintain what you do each and every day. There are many other tools which can work individually on top of it, but it's pretty important, and it's good to have a particular tool which you can use to kind of bring all of these features onto one particular place. And then you have to have a way of kind of create, assign different tasks. Of course, these particular business or process automation tools can bring in different capabilities of creating and assigning tasks to personnel or groups and kind of things to be parallelly or serially added into their inboxes and make sure that the task is being taken care of. So it's not like, okay, when you work as a team, so you just raise your head and talk to the person next sitting next to you, because that with one of the key things I realized during the during the COVID period was it's very difficult to get somebody's time to kind of have a chat, because now everybody is in meetings. If you look at the calendar, that the whole calendar is filled with many meetings, because everybody has, I mean, the 5-minute discussion that you want to take over the physical appearance or physically would go into about 15 to 20 minutes meeting because of sometimes many technical difficulties as well. That's mainly, I mean, the 5 minutes of your time of day which you took during in the physical world, in the digital world, it converts into 15 to 20 minutes. I think one of the key phrases during the pandemic period, okay, can you hear me? Or am I clear to you? So simply these two sentences was very popular. I mean, it was a couple of maybe the couple of sentences which was used most during the pandemic period, so that the other parties can understand whether it happens. But with the time we have evolved, okay, we understood how things work and so on and so forth, to make sure that we respond to them eventually, but we have to make sure that there is a way that we can talk to the other person for and make sure our time is also productively spent by having this kind of environment. And one of the other things, I mean, this is more important when it comes to many of the places. I'm not talking about the physical labor-intensive work, but when it comes to most of the professional work, it is also important to make sure that you monitor the progress. And sometimes, okay, you have to understand, okay, where certain tasks are. I mean, that's once again, okay, I might talk to my colleague next to me and ask, okay, where are we on this? That luxury is no more there. So simply there has to be a way that you can understand where the things are. So when it comes to these kind of tools, it provides you the progress, monitoring of progress, and at the same time look at the history. Okay, how, when, what has been done, and how people can which activities they have taken and which time. So of course it gives us a feeling, okay, whenever you want to check, okay, the task I have assigned or I have transferred to my colleague, I just want to check, okay, where it is. Okay, simply just log into the system and look for the history. Okay, then I get an idea, the comfortability, okay, this has been already taken care of. So simply this is one of the other things. And delegation of task, as I indicated in the very beginning of my speech, delegation of task is very important most of the time. Why? Because during the lockdown periods or during a certain amount of work, I mean, we were doing, there can be certain activities which is urgent and important. So when it comes to this urgent and important content, actually we have to take actions on top of the other tasks that we already have. Going buying groceries from supermarket or catching the delivery man was two of the main important things that we had those days. Or maybe sometimes, okay, you may have to drop your spouse at the nearest hospital if she's a nurse or so and so forth. So you may have to do certain things because you can't take the public transport. So there were certain things that you had to do irrespective of the time that you spent on the work. So when it comes to these kind of environments, you have to make sure that, okay, there is opportunity, or basically the mechanism to delegate certain tasks to your colleagues. Maybe or maybe you have to have transferred it to your supervisor or maybe a colleague next door. So likewise, in order to be with this path, or basically make sure that, okay, you are doing the work right. So these kind of activities also needs to be done in order to give the maximum satisfaction to the customers that you serve. So otherwise there can be many other frustrations from the customer side and so on. So they are already frustrated because of the lockdowns and so on and so forth. So it's very important to make sure that, okay, you cater to these customers' requirements. It can be internal customers, it can be external customers. Either of them has to be managed. And at the same time, the people has to kind of have the mechanism of escalation. Sometimes you may out of your office, or maybe I have encountered this similar scenario with a couple of my colleagues in Philippines, because in certain occasions, okay, they lose the internet connectivity. When the connectivity is not there, okay, you cannot reach out to them. So there has to be a mechanism where you can escalate or maybe transfer certain work out of those people who are not being able to attend to the work because of the technical difficulties, or maybe due to some other activities that they have to carry out during that particular time. So these tools, of course, allows, kind of allows you to do it, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So next couple of slides is basically on the development of how all of these tasks needs to be understood and create as workflows. So basically, one of the key things we don't have is time, the lot of time to kind of develop workflows with the development team. So of course, these kind of workflow tools or business process automation tools allows you to create your own forms and make sure that okay, you convert that into a working design with simple arrangement like this. So it allows you to kind of come and do your own. Business champions has the capability of doing it. And final topic, the elimination of physical paper. One of the key things during the physical elimination of the physical paper is that okay, most of the time we need to have signatures for auditing purposes or compliance reasons. So of course, we have to bring in all the documents into one particular place. That is, make sure that you avoid content silos to for the convenience of achieving or getting the documents out of anywhere. At the same time, it is understood during the pandemic period, it takes, if you want to retrieve a document, it takes hours or maybe days to process that. Okay, if you don't have access to that particular place also, so simply it's very difficult for us to kind of move forward with that particular work. So when it comes to this business process automation, along with that, you have to make sure that okay, you have a document management solution which caters to number one, search, the business continuity planning and disaster recovery as a whole. So mainly, I just wanted to give you a very brief intro into this world of business process automation and document management during my time, so that you will start thinking how you can transform your organization from today's physical world into the digital world. Thank you very much, Curtin Indonesia team and Harry and Ari for this time. So over to you, Arin.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Lakmal. I think I pick up a few points from your presentation that this pandemic has shifted our working behavior, and now we can work from everywhere, anywhere. But there are several toolkits available out there to help us to manage our work efficiently. And also, thank you for reminding us to focus on health and happiness as well in modern workplace. All right. Before we move to the next presenter, I would like to play a game actually with Mr. Lakmal. It is called Rapid Fire Questions. So all of us from other alumni chapter can know you better. So I will give you two different topics. It's going to be really quick actually, and you can just pick either one of it. Which one would you prefer, coffee or tea?
Coffee.
All right. Would you prefer working from office or working from home?
Working from home.
All right. Are you more of a Google or Baidu person?
Google.
Okay. And are you an early bird or a night owl?
Very early bird.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Lakmal. All right. If any of you have any questions, don't forget to put it on Slido. And also, now we will move to the second speaker. We have Edmund Singh.
Hi, Irene.
Hello, Edmund. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
All right. He's the founder and managing director of Calendly. He's also the founder of and managing partner of Artemis Search and Partners. And he's also the president of Curtin University Alumni Singapore. He's been a keynote speaker and has more than 20 years experience in business, management, and human capital consulting. So if any of you would like to contact him after this presentation, you can reach him through his email. And all right, I will pass the screen to you, Mr. Edmund.
Thank you. Okay, let me just blow this thing up. All right, thanks, Irene, for the graceful introduction, and thanks, Harry, and your committee members for organizing this awesome webinar on a Saturday morning. thanks everyone for attending and giving us a precious time. So I have about 20 minutes. I'm just going to set very quickly my timer. So today's topic is going to be a very interesting one, which I've spoken about a few times last year and and the year before. So a little bit of changes to it. Primarily, I've added a couple of slides, essentially on COVID-19 as the catalyst for embracing economy 4.0 as employer. So today I'll share a little bit more about the trends, a little bit more about the disrupted economy in which we are already at, on jobs, right, which are the stable ones, the new ones, and the redundant ones, and exactly what is talent 4.0 defined. And of course, lastly, I will cap it off with some of the 6 critical factors for the new employer of choice. So for those people who are running businesses, have your own companies, or very close to the leaders of your firms, very, very good to share some of these things that I will be sharing you to share with them when you have the opportunity too. So just 1 or 2 minutes, a little bit of background about what we do. So as managing director, I head up the obviously the client acquisition as well as the project delivery and a lot of other things for Calentry. Basically, we are career development, talent management specialists, and we have 3 practice areas, one of which is organization effectiveness. The second one is outplacement and career management. The third one is human resource transformation. So most of our clients over the past years, they will stem from various industries. I think something to the tune of about 350 clients already to date. And they come from various sectors that show. This is just a very quick glimpse of some of the sectors that we work in. I think about 95% of those clients of ours will come from global and Fortune 500 MNCs. So headquartered in Singapore, we have a couple of regional offices, and of course, with our synergistic collaborations and alliances, we provide projects and deliver those projects APAC-wide as well as globally. We're part of a larger group called the Synergized HR Group. So the consulting, training, coaching, facilitation, outplacement services are provided by Calentry, which I just mentioned. Artemis Search and Partners looks after talent acquisition, recruitment, executive search, and of course, Workforce Alternative Solutions looks after contingency workforce management, shared services, outsourcing. So a little bit about myself. I happen to be a little bit different from most other consultants. A lot of them would, do a 20-year corporate career and then go into the area of consulting. For myself, I actually started in consulting, and I've been doing it for about 20 years now. I really started off in IT consulting. So I was very intrigued when Lakmal was sharing with me sharing with us those processes and systems and platforms in which to be more productive and so on and so forth. And then I went into organization effectiveness work, and it's still one of my favorite areas to provide consulting for. A lot of strategy work, change transition management, and of course, businesses are not run by machines, they're run by humans. So that human capital and the human resource transformation kind of advisory work is also a huge area that we are doing right now. I happen to be, part of the pioneer batch of consultants and trainers engaged by Workforce Development Agency. Obviously, they're called Workforce Singapore now, a government agency that's really working very hard at the moment to try and transform the whole Singapore workforce to embrace 4.0. So today's topic is very close to my heart and very, very important. At the same time, obviously, I'm also president of Curtin Singapore Alumni. I think to date we have about 18,000 members. Some of them are with us today, so welcome. In 2017, I was very honored to have received the Voluntary Leadership Award. That was graced upon me by the Alumni Office. So I continue to be very involved with the alumni, and of course, next Saturday on the 27th will be our Singapore chapter's AGM. So for the fellas in here who have not signed up in the Singapore chapter, please sign up. Okay, so let me dive in straight away. Now, economy 4.0 or the disrupted economy, right? I call it the now. Why is it the now? Because it is now. It is upon us. It is not tomorrow. It is right now. And so, what's the road ahead? Are we future ready? I'm not going to go through all these details, but it's good to share a little bit of history about the journey, how we've journeyed over the, 3,000 years, right? So of course, we started with the Bronze Age, the Iron Age, and more recently, of course, the Industrial Revolution, and then your 20th century, right? So right now, we are at what we call as the digital revolution. Mass adoption of technologies, all right? I don't think I've yet to come across someone who is without a smart device, so I think smart devices, obviously your interconnected networks, your internet of things, and so on and so forth. So we're really at the digital revolution. And moving on in the digital revolution age, obviously now we are at the age of disruption. And if you look at COVID-19, which I'll share a little bit more in the next couple of slides, it has really accelerated that disruption. If you sum it up, the age of disruption, we are looking at the 4 Ps, right? We have obviously the 4 Ps for success. We have obviously products and processes, right? So it's not just the internet, but it's the internet of things, how things are connected through the internet. If you're talking about something with your friends in WhatsApp, believe me, Facebook will be pushing those efforts to you, and so on and so forth, right? 3D printing, robotics, blockchain, and so on and so forth, right? Space colonization, advanced virtual reality. Now, on the other side, the other 2 Ps, then we have your people, and we have the philosophy of things, right? Singapore in itself, I think the government has tasked about 30 over sectors to look at the industry roadmap transformation for themselves, for their relevant sectors. So they're taking this very seriously, how those sectors are going to be impacted by the 4.0 economy. Obviously, the new competencies that are needed, to thrive in those sectors, right? The jobs, obviously, that will be impacted. We live in the VUCA world, not a new term. I think this term has been around for about 20 or something years now. First formed by the US military. Stands for volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous, right? Things are moving very fast. It's not always black and white anymore. It's about gray. And it's not just about gray. It's about thriving in the world of gray, right? You have multiple workforce groups, in your company. You have your baby boomers. Some of them are still actively engaged in work. Your Gen X, your Gen Y, your millennials. Right? Obviously, then in the disrupted world, in the 4.0 disrupted economy, we have disruptive quotient, right? DQ. So not just your IQ, your social quotient, your emotional quotient, your technology quotient. You also have your disruptive quotient. All right. So I just wanted to share this because this is really insightful. Right? You see quite a lot of things happening. Obviously, the trends, shown by the blue circles. Internet of Things, the social platforms, mobile, cloud, big data, and so on and so forth. And these things then help to push innovation. So we call them innovation accelerators, your nanotechnology, cognitive system, robotics, blockchain, and so on and so forth. Then, of course, it further accelerates your future scenarios and your emerging and future accelerators, just to pick some of these, and they are shown by the orange, yellow-orange circles. You have automation of everything, next generation education, connected healthcare, smart cities, artificial, not just artificial intelligence, but artificial narrow intelligence, and so on and so forth. The list goes on. So for those who are not aware of these things, the red flag should be coming up in your mind because these things are happening now. New jobs will be created for these things to replace, current jobs. Something that could affect your livelihood in a very short number of years. Now, the impact of the disrupted economy on jobs, and if you look at this is projected by 2022, and 2022 is not too far away, right? 2022 is upon us almost next year. You'll find that the user entity big data, analyzing of those big data is everything. 85% of this is already adopted by companies. App and web enabled markets, Internet of Things, cloud computing, and so on and so forth. So you find that new technologies in the now is already largely adopted and will even take on a more accelerated pace as we move along. Now, the impact of the economy on jobs. Now, if you look at 2018, which was not too long ago, it's about 2-3 years ago, you'll find that about 1/3, of jobs back then would be redundant, right? They will be no longer relevant, it'll be made redundant. Then the counter that you have new jobs or new roles, right? There are about 48% of the current jobs will still continue to be stable and relevant and current. We move ahead about 3 to 4 years to next year, 2022, and you'll find that worryingly, redundant jobs are now 21%. So that's good, right, Edmund? It has reduced. I say, well, that's good because you're looking at it from an absolute perspective. You look at it from a relative perspective, then you'll find that it has dropped because 10% of them had disappeared. They had really become redundant, right? So, and that means that 10% from 31 to 21% would have then transited into new roles. Now the question is, if you're in those kind of redundant jobs, do you have the competency, to take on another new role or some other role that come about? So that's the question that I'd like a lot of y'all to think through very carefully. So to sum it up, if you look at some of these key highlights, then you find that yes, emerging professions or new jobs are set to increase from 16 to 27%. This is worrying, right? This is just within that span of 3, 4, 5 years. Redundant roles obviously have decreased because they have truly become redundant. So you find that the structural decline of certain types of jobs, counterbalanced by the emergence of new jobs. So I've done quite a bit of research, and you'll find that somewhere between 75 to 150 million jobs may be displaced by the above trends, while 133 million kind of additional new jobs will then emerge. So this is something that's very worrying, but this is how it is. It is what it is. Change is a constant. Obviously, if you do not effect change, then change will affect you, right? Affect you. So on the left side, you have some of the stable roles. I'm not going to go into too much details in lieu of time. Then you have your new roles, and then obviously you have some of your redundant roles on the right side of the table. You'll find that some of these redundant roles, a lot of them have elements of very administrative, lower value added, things that can be replaced by automation, by robots, by software, things like that. So if you're in some of these roles, I urge you to look at it very seriously. So moving on. So I've talked about the impact of jobs. Let's talk about talent defined for 4.0. Obviously, if you looked at back in the age of the Industrial Revolution, huge factories, mega factories, then your physical strength, your kindness, kinesthetic abilities to perform those jobs, those laborious jobs. Then we look into, we move on to talent 2.0, right, which is then ability, a combination of disabilities and social skills. Then 3.0, which is really more towards the digital revolution slant of things, not just your skills and your abilities, but also your knowledge and the ability, to thrive in the VUCA world, unfamiliar situations. Today we are at 4.0. So that's a combination of new tech competencies and human innovation factors, which I'll talk about in a short while, what those human innovation factors are all about. So we are now, I hope, at the recovery phase of COVID-19. But if there's anything that I've noticed or observed about COVID-19 is it has really acted as a catalyst to accelerate this future of work scenario, right? Which I think Lakmal has shared about, in his previous presentation, which was very well done. Now, if you look at post-COVID-19 and the future of work, then you will find that workplaces with that high physical proximity, they obviously are the most disrupted short-term during COVID-19. And some of these will continue to be affected from the mid to the long term, right? And to sum it up, what we have is a situation for post-COVID where effectively remote work, right? About 20 to 25% of workers in advanced economies would continue to work remotely for more than half of their work week on a mid to long-term basis. Digitization, which is widely adopted already. I think probably everyone here would have bought something through e-commerce, and that 2 to 5 times growth continue to surge in digital platforms. Automation in terms of robotic process continue to accelerate. And we're looking at 100 million jobs, just like I mentioned about, 66 all the way through the 150 million. So about 100 million thereabouts workers worldwide will have to switch jobs, by 2030. Just some infographics to share. If you look at on the left side, we have the kind of trends that COVID-19 brought about. Obviously, your remote work, you know, the travel, the virtual meetings, and all those kind of things. Then if you look at the, you know, the kind of graph, you'll find that a good number of those people continue to work from home. Business travel will be slightly reduced. Why? Because if you can get things moving from home without traveling, then post-COVID, there's not much real reason why you must travel, right? Automation will surge post-COVID by quite a bit. In terms of e-commerce and virtual transactions, everybody is used to it, and everybody has been buying tons of things through the internet. So it will continue to grow and continue to surge, you know, and so on and so forth. So see the sum of this, what we call as the post-COVID-19, consumer and business behavioral kind of shifts that will stick post-COVID. Now, if you look at 4.0, coming back to 4.0 and talent 4.0, then you'll find that, hey, you know, some of these statistics are quite worrying. In a recent survey done with about 25,000 business leaders, particularly with regards to their readiness to operate in a tech-driven 4.0 economy, only about 1/3, 37% of them say that they are ready. And even more worrying, their HR leaders, only 16% feel that they're ready. Now, if you say, hey, this 4.0 disrupted economy is upon us, and then we have to build talent 4.0, you know, what's going to happen if we need to add 4.0 talent into the whole equation of building new age organizations? So let me share with you a potential scenario on how that's going to take place, right? So case in point, for example, we're talking about a role that will disrupt multiple industries, such as banking, finance, manufacturing, energy, insurance, so on and so forth. So obviously you have a K, the S, and the A on the left side, your knowledge, your skills, and attributes, which I mentioned in my previous slides. I'm not going to go too much into it. But now with the 4.0 and talent 4.0, we need to add certain elements, the ability to imagine, to design new plans and concepts, to explore those new ideas, the cognitive flexibility to switch between different concepts and environments, you know, situations, self-prompt, and of course the ability to transcend, to look beyond, to imagine, you know. So you find that things are no longer the same. There has to be new elements to look at if organizations truly want to build talent 4.0. So now let's go on to my last segment, which I have about 2 slides only. Then we'll call it, you know, they'll call it a day. The new employer of choice, embracing talent 4.0. You know, for a good number of years, we have been doing consulting work, employer of choice kind of consulting work. How do you as an employer, as a company, position and build yourself to be an employer of choice? Because there are many other companies that talent can work for, right? So why should they choose you, your company? So there are various elements to this whole equation. Obviously, the value improvement process, your human performance development process, right? The communication aspect, and of course, the heart and the soul, right? The care and concern. So together, they make up what we call as your people-centric, people-centered management system, right? This was until very recently, where the 4.0 is upon us, which means looking into those various new factors, we have to tweak or build upon this existing system. So the new employer of choice, 6 critical factors, needs to be added. Health and wellness, which I think our next speaker, Jane, will be talking about. The buy-in and the participation element of it, the meaning and the significance of the work, obviously, your access and ready accessibility of your resources and the opportunities, and how clearly that's communicated, the brand resonance and the regular touch points. So you'll find that, you know, increasingly with the new environment in which we are operating in 4.0, you know, the disruptive age, the talent that is 4.0 that is now being redefined, and how companies should embrace, you know, and to really engage this new model for the new employer of choice, those 6 critical factors that we've added to the people-centric management system. So with that, I end my presentation. Thank you, everyone. I hope I'm just on time, you know, and I hand it back to Irene.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Edmund. Thank you very much for sharing us the economy 4.0 and also giving us reminder to be mindful of the disrupted economy. If we don't change, if we don't affect change, change will affect all of us. All right, for your information, that this webinar will be recorded and posted on YouTube. So if any of you miss any part of this presentation, you can always visit our YouTube channel. And if you have any questions for Edmund or Lakmal part, you can always put it on the Slido. The link is on the chat column. And also, don't forget to fill up the list of attendees that will be distributed during the Q&A sessions for you to be able to obtain the e-certificate. All right, okay, Edmund, let's play the rapid fire questions again. All right, I will change the game a little bit actually. So I will tell you a few market stocks name, and you can tell all of us whether you will buy or sell the stocks. All right, okay, the first one is Tesla. Would you buy or sell?
We'll buy.
All right, cool. Nice choice. Okay, how about Google?
I think Google, we should sell.
All right. Okay, if Alibaba and Group ever gone public again, would you buy or sell?
A lot of that decision depends on what's going to happen to Jack Ma. But I think we'll buy. I'm very hopeful that they'll continue to innovate and grow.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Mr. Edmund. All right, we are now in the third part of our webinar. We have Jane T. Hey, Jane.
Hey, how are you doing? Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, fantastic.
You. All right, so Miss Jane T is the sales leader at New Skin Enterprise. She's also the president of Curtin Alumni Malaysia chapter. She holds a bachelor degree from Curtin University, majoring in finance and marketing. She's also a consultant in various soft skills, business networking, referral marketing, and salesmanship. She's also a lecturer, trainer, and also has vast entrepreneurship experience. All right, without any further ado, Ms. Jane.
All right, thank you so much. So I'm gonna just share my screen. And time now is 11:22, so I got 20 minutes, right? So I have to finish by 11:42. Thank you so much, Edmund, for being on time. It was fantastic, and I learned so much from you. Thank you so much. You guys can see my screen, right? So I nipped this from your Curtin Alumni Asia Inspiring Talks. Actually, all this was organized by CUACI and Harry, so I can't take any credit for it. So I didn't do anything, okay? I just came and had a good time. Okay, so Lakmal talked about IT, Edmund talked about how moving forward, what are the skill sets that's needed. And I really liked what he did. You know, he had this care button where, you know, he's like, he said, he called it care bubble. And in one of those care bubbles was karaoke. If you guys noticed, there was like a karaoke time. So, you know, that's awesome. Good way to, you know, make everyone get together and sing your heart out. Okay, so I'm going to talk about importance of self-care and well-being while embracing the new normal. I think this is also very important because a lot of changes. What is the new normal? So in Malaysia, on the 18th of March, what happened was we went into nationwide movement control order in Malaysia. I don't know about Indonesia or the rest of the world, but we're probably almost the same time. And then from that point on, experts say that many people are finding it hard to cope with the isolation and the economic hardships related to COVID-19 pandemic. Also, being isolated increases the fear and helplessness that someone feels, and this can lead to anxiety and depression. So when someone is isolated in crowded families or spaces, the environment can get pretty toxic. So like I always say, you know, all you need is just one screaming baby and one stressed out parent, and it's a crazy time. So reports and news also did mention about these. Let me just get this out of the way. Yep. So In the Straits Times, they talked about the coronavirus pandemic taking its toll on the country's mental health, you know, and there are a lot of things like domestic violences, suicide, retrenchments. So these are real things which are happening in the world, and having to adjust to sudden changes related to the movement restriction. We face a lot of uncertainties in finances, employment, education, and even obtaining the daily provisions of food and supplies can be very stressful. And while all this social movement curbs, it's very, very disruptive to ourselves, perhaps the world has changed. And like what Edmund has mentioned as well, we need different skill sets because there's like new jobs and new requirements, and then new skills are needed, you know, and there's 7 billion people today. So times have changed, you know. Today, like right now, we're having this fantastic time, you know, talking to people all over the world through our computer screen. And this couldn't have happened, say, even 10 years ago. Not many of us have access to this unless you work in an IT company. So as businesses ground to a halt, the crippled economy caused many people to lose their jobs and income. And this is very, very real. So also something very recent, 7 December 2020, there was an article that says why the pandemic is causing spikes in breakup and divorces. So divorce rates are increasing around the world, and relationship experts warn that pandemic-induced breakups curve may not have peaked. So it could be more things are happening, but what I want to talk to you about today is how do we curb all this? So we did not learn how to be good partners, you know. So I think it's a good time that we start. So my philosophy, and I hope that if you like it, probably you can take it on too. My job is to improve me and then accept you or everyone else, you know. So if we have this philosophy in mind and we practice this philosophy, then life could be so much easier because a lot of things are beyond our control. So one screaming baby and a stressed out parent is enough to drive everyone crazy. And sometimes, you know, we as human beings, we're very interesting animals. If things are going too well, we get bored. When we get bored, we will we'll cari pasal, means we'll go look for trouble, right? So sometimes it stresses out other people. So let's be nice to everyone, okay? And including ourselves. So what is self-care and well-being? So what a beep is that, right? So it's the very thing that we often take for granted. Before we can love or take care of others, we need to self-sustain and take care of ourselves first. So I'm sure a lot of us have not been flying for some time, at least a year. Some people are very lucky because you still get to fly in and out, maybe for your work. And then you have to quarantine. Of course, please do your quarantine. We were talking about this just now. Don't be a problem to everyone else, right? So when we go on the airplane, even the pilot will say, you know, if the air in the cabin gets light, you know, there's a mask that will fall off, you know, just fall down. Please use it for yourself first before you put one onto your loved ones. So we need to really take care of ourselves. So my job is to take care of me, and your job is to take care of you. So if you can do that really, really well, we're all one big happy family. The pandemic is not going away anytime soon. So let's be responsible citizens. The better we boost our immunity, our well-being, and take the necessary precautions for prevention, the better equipped we are to keep aging at bay. So deterioration and unwanted sickness at bay as well, right? So I think this is something very important to me, and I hope it's also important to you. Let's all take charge and make the conscious choice, because in life, everything is a choice. Like what Edmund said and what Lakmal said to me, it's all choices. You know, do you want to upgrade to a better IT system? You know, do you want to have this particular employee? Do you want to upgrade? You know, and stuff like that. So I think it's important for us to take charge and make conscious choices. So welcome to the world of wellness. There are lots of different areas of wellness. There is like physical wellness, mental wellness, emotional wellness, spiritual wellness, environmental wellness, financial wellness, and also social wellness. So I would say we need to get a 7 out of 7. So it's not okay, I'm physically well, you know, I got 1. No, I think it's important for us to be an all well-rounder, and let's strive to improve ourselves day by day. And social wellness is something very important as well, because with friends, we are social creatures, you know, and let's not let a pandemic or a change this big worldwide stop us from connecting with people. And like right now, I think this is fantastic, right, Harry? You know, we can actually go online, talk to each other, and it's so convenient on your computer. Sit down and hi, how's everyone, right? So I think this is something that we shouldn't take for granted. Today, people can talk to you on their phones, and this video calling thing is super awesome. So there's no excuse not to call your friends or call your parents, right? And really, there is no excuse, right? So it's also very important for us to have a positive mindset. It's very important for us to have positive thinking because it's very beneficial for our mental health, primarily because it eliminates any form of paranoia and negative thoughts that can cause depression or stress. Today, we're under tremendous stress because everything is fast. Everything is like, you know, like just like that. You know, you're hungry, you want to eat, just go downstairs and you probably be able to buy food. You know, call Grab and, you know, they'll send the food to you, right? But back in the olden days, if you don't farm, you don't eat. Like if this year you don't farm, next year you don't eat. And we kind of forgot that because someone else did the job for us. And today we're so comfortable, and probably because we're too comfortable. So we get into what I would call unnecessary stress, right? So the process is actually a domino effect in terms of overall health. So thinking positive sounds very simple, and like, thank you so much, Irene, for reading my profile. I spent many years in entrepreneurship, and entrepreneurship, for those of you who are running businesses, it's a very sad and lonely road. It takes a toll on us. So don't work by yourself, work in a team. You know, today there is no excuse. You have friends all over the world. You have your Curtin family. If you like us, you know, come do business together with us. You know, you have experts like Edmund, like Harry, you know, like Lakmal. You know, these people are experts, and we can't just let, you know, oh, distance is a problem. Last time maybe Edmund needs to fly to you. Today, just call him over Zoom or Skype. You know, done. So it's very important for us to practice positive thinking, and the environment that we're in is also very important. So we can create a very happy, positive environment. And it's simple, but it's not easy. To think positive, it's simple, but really it's not easy. It took me like 5 years. I have like records like, okay, think positive. And it's like 2015 until now, it's like, okay, I managed to, okay, let's think positiver. So very important, those who think positively feel happier and more contented with their lives. So let's make that choice. Let's make a choice to feel happier and feel more contented with our lives, because life is pretty good, right? If you could put food on a table, if you are on this call right now, if you're in Zoom and you're with us today, watching either from YouTube or from Zoom, you're in a very good place, right? Very, very, very good place. Okay, so here's a circle, you know, of things that you can control, things that I can control, and things that I cannot control. So, like for instance, I can control my exercise, my health, my sleep, my work, my spending, my eating, my drinking, my social connections. These are things within my control. I can control this, right? And these are things beyond my control, like how my partner chooses to react to a situation, how I don't have kids, by the way, but how my kids would want to, you know, react, you know, and when you say no, they say yes, or how pets would want to move around, you know, and these are things that are beyond our control. The global economy is beyond our control. News and social media are beyond our control. People's actions, other people's health, what people say, business stability, job security, how the COVID-19 is spreading, just like the share market. You know, some people note it, which is great, but is it gonna help you or is it gonna make you feel worse? This is a question that we need to ask ourselves every time before we do anything. I think that's very important. And change is good. So let's be nice, okay? Change is good, right? All changes are awesome. Like what Edmund said, there are redundant jobs. So if your job is redundant, just thank it and say goodbye to it, and let's move on to a new adventure, right? So much more of the world to conquer. It's like, remember when we graduated from university, that feeling of after graduation and how we are ready to conquer the world. So think of COVID-19 or the pandemic as an opportunity that we can rewrite the story, recreate a new story. It's a white piece of paper, like the screen here, it's empty, right? So let's paint whatever we want to paint. So in life, we're either improving or deteriorating. So when choosing to stay status quo, if we are not careful to maintain our quality of work or well-being, we will fall behind. It's just the way it is. I'm sure all of you remember, some of you are very young, I'm sure, but most of us will remember the glory days where all of us wanted a Nokia phone. Remember that small little phone cost a bomb, right? And all of us wanted a Nokia phone, right? And today, they just didn't catch up. So if we are not careful, I think life is like a sushi conveyor belt, right? I'm sure all of you went and eat sushi before. So it's like a sushi conveyor belt and we're walking in the other direction. The moment we stop, we're gonna fall behind, right? So let's not do that. There are only 3 main reasons why people resist change, right? So if you don't take away anything I say today, I hope you take away this one. Number 1, I want to change, I just don't know how, right? Or I want to change, I know how to change, I just don't have the confidence, right? So then the third reason is I don't want to change. So then coming from a compassionate point of view, let's look into this. Let's practice some compassion and acceptance here. Acceptance is a very dirty word because it's really hard. It's really hard. How do you accept something that, it's going to be like that? You don't like it, but you have to accept it, right? So why do people not want to change? We need to have this compassion to really understand, why do people not want to change? Right. So there is always a reason, and we can guess, like, oh, okay, let me think. Okay, Irene, what is she thinking right now? Okay, I'm looking at her face and it's written on her forehead. It's not. So why don't you just ask, right? And ask nicely, very important. It's good to communicate and be honest with ourselves. So we first and foremost need to be very honest. Do we like what we're doing? Because if we don't like what we're doing, take this opportunity of COVID-19 pandemic and change, right? Take this opportunity. It's a great opportunity, like I don't get to fly. It's okay because the whole world don't get to fly. Except for Australia right now, they get to see each other, and they have like a fantastic outing. But other than that, in Asia, everyone needs to stay home. So I don't think it's such a bad thing to have some time to communicate and be honest with ourselves. And when dealing with others, I think it's important to practice tactfulness and ask, would whatever I want to say help or hurt more? I'm so sorry about this. Please move this window away from this chat application because I kind of want to see you guys and I kind of want to see how things are. So probably it's my Zoom. So please excuse that little sign there. And I've sent the slides over to Harry. So if you guys want the slides, I'm more than happy to just share, okay? So when we do not rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. And I like what Edmund had put up, the people and philosophy, and then products and process, right? So I have the same 3P system as well. So it's people plus process equals to profit. So if we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. And what is the systems that we have in place, for better well-being? Do we have something like this in place? Because after a while, if you hear someone say, think positive, you can do it, you will think that, okay, this is crap, I feel like shit. So stop saying that, So I think it's important for us to have the right systems and the right rituals in place so that we know exactly what we can do. So here's my 7 daily rituals. Diligently put on skincare. I use New Skin, of course. Hydrate, drink sufficient water. Please have good nutrition. Yes, I take supplements very seriously. I think you should too, because if, let's say, someone has done all the work to put everything into one pill, why not just take it, right? Stay mentally and physically active, very important. Have adequate sleep. This is within our control. Breathe optimally and consciously. Please do that. Energy manage. Please stay positive. Lose all that no longer serves us. And please be mindful to stay away from toxicity. What does that mean? It means that if someone you meet or something that you see, that's once you see it or once you engage with it, makes you feel like crap for the next, say, 2 weeks, don't look at it. Don't engage. Stay disengaged, right? So that's something important. So self-care is a lot of things, right? Self-care is to focus on what's within your control and avoid excessive worrying, because, okay, let's be real. We need to worry. Worrying, it's good because, you know, we need to be paranoid, you know, don't invest in things that you don't know, right? Be paranoid. It's very important, but schedule time to be paranoid. Don't be over paranoid. Create a to-do list, clean up your workspace, and really decide, is this important or am I just worrying unnecessarily? Have good sleep, move, be mindful, do random acts of kindness, you know, post positive notes around your community, give a compliment, take a break from your scrolling, you know. Social distancing does not mean no social interaction. Yeah, I can't stress this more, right? So stay connected with friends and loved ones via phone calls, text, social media, video calls. Send a gratitude letter or words of affirmation to a loved one. They need to hear that, right? Your children, your parents, the people that you love, your spouse, they need to hear that I love you, right? So what more? Just tell them, right? You can't say too much I love yous. More is better than less, okay? That's my philosophy. And here are more self-care tips. Bear in mind that these are just tips, so it might not work for you. So please bear in mind what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Limit your exposure, yada yada, unplug, you know, focus on what is within your control, practice your self-check-ins, you know, have a good friend, do something fun and good for the soul. I think karaoke's are opening now, so you can go karaoke, you know, bring your friends, bring your team, right? So if not, sing in the shower, or, you know, you have online karaoke as well, you can do that on your phone. So lots of options. Practice your physical well-being. You know, if you're hungry, please eat. If you're sleep deprived, please sleep. Hydrate, very important. You don't want your kidneys to shut down on you, right? And very important to strengthen your personal and sleep hygiene. Wash your hands more often, COVID-19, right? Do all your check-ins if needed. And then please have your mindfulness techniques and your social well-being, send gratitude letters, share your own coping skills with others, you know. So we are a community, and thank you so much, CUACI, for having this. You know, we're a Curtin community, so anytime we're here to support you, okay? And when dealing with objections and dissatisfaction, you know, I'm just gonna run through this really quickly because I think I'm passing my time. I'm so sorry, Irene, and I'm so sorry. So listen fully. Your first reaction might be to jump in. Please don't. Listen and acknowledge the objection and make your person feel heard. It's very important. Say things like, I understand, I hear you, that's true, you're right, and please mean it. And understand the objection completely, because many objections hide underlying issues. I'll call it subtitles. You know, whatever someone say and whatever someone mean could be two different things. And always be a good partner, okay? Sometimes the person can't or isn't ready to articulate, so let's be aware of that and let's be here to help. And let's practice being supportive, respond properly, practice empathy, always be respectful and tactful, very important. Confirm that you've satisfied the objection and then seek a solution together. You need to confirm it. So are we okay? Get to an agreement and then next step actions. You know, you're gonna need to use this like, would that be okay with you? Would that be the best solution for this? What would be the best solution? How can we sort this out together? Then lean into the problem, okay? Please don't take it personally. It's really not personal, because every one of us, we're going through something that no one knows about. And let's just learn from the experience and then have fun and improve, okay? So yes, slightly off time, but thank you very much for your time and attention. It's very important for us to don't wait, take action, Put your own self-care and well-being in priority and make it your new normal today. Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Ms. Jane. Thank you for a really mindful and positive presentation. This pandemic obviously have affected us differently. We all should learn to cope with this change. And thank you for reminding us that we all have to be nice to ourselves, put more time and effort on self-care and well-being, and practice compassion and acceptance. Sorry, I take a lot of notes from your presentation. And also thank you for sharing us your 7 daily routines. Rituals. I will definitely try this later. All right, I really want to play this rapid fire questions again with you, Ms. Jane, because obviously some of us want to know you better. All right, this one is, how would you like to spend your weekend? So I'll give you options again and you can just pick either one. All right, would you like to spend a weekend reading books or watching a movie?
I'd say reading books.
All right, okay. Are you more of a skincare or makeup person?
Skincare, good skincare is very important. Makeup is covering, do your skincare routine, please.
Okay. All right, this one is really interesting one. Okay, nasi lemak or mie goreng?
Oh, nasi lemak every day, no problem. I'm Malaysian, feed me nasi lemak every day.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Jane.
Thank you so much, Irene.
All right, if any of you have any questions for Ms. James, you can put it on Slido. The link is on the chat column. And now for the fourth part of this webinar, we have Mrs. Putu Mayuni. She's the CEO of Insitia Sustainable Business Consulting. She's the Associate Professor of Management Accounting, University Pendidikan Nasional, Undiknas, and also Headmaster of Management Study Program, Undiknas Graduate School. She's an accounting expert and also a mindfulness enthusiast. So please, Ms. Wahyuni, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Irene, for introducing me. And thank you, Pak Heri, President of CUACI, Curtin University Alumni Indonesia, for organizing this wonderful international seminar. Good morning to all distinguished speakers and committee and audience. May we all stay safe and healthy during this pandemic. Let me start my presentation. Previous speakers has discussed wonderful topics related to Lakmal, and Edmund has discussed about work-related topic, and Jane has discussed about wellness. So I think I will continue discussing about wellness, but from a bit different perspective. If Jane talking about self-wellness, I'm going to discuss about wellness tourism. So anytime the border of our country is open and the pandemic has gone, let's come to Bali for wellness tourism. Yeah, that's I think that's very good. I think Lakmal and Edmund has discussed about work-related things, and Jane and I would like discuss about wellness. So if we combine that, it's kind of a complete discussion about work-life balance, because it is very important to have a balance, right? That just we not focus on work, but we need time also to take care about ourselves for our well-being. Today's seminar is really wonderful. We cover a complete topic about work-life balance. So let me start my presentation. Focus on the case study of Bali, about wellness tourism in Bali. I think what I will present today might be relevant as well in the context of other Asia countries, because we have a lot of similar culture between like Indonesia, Malaysia. We have similar culture, Singapore, Sri Lanka as well. So I think what I will present to Bali might be also relevant to other countries in Asia. I think Jane has already mentioned about wellness, so I will skip this. I used to ask the participant to think about what they think about the wellness, but I think Jane has already mentioned that wellness is related not only to physical, but also to mental. So I will skip this one. Okay, I go to the next slide. I would like to present to show that the global wellness economy is actually a huge market. There is a huge potential. If we're talking about global wellness economy, personal care is there. It contributes the highest $1 billion to the world global wellness economy, and wellness tourism being the second greatest contributor to the global wellness economy. It contributes 639 billion. So this is a huge market. And then if we look at more detail into specific wellness related business, like a yoga studio, it become more interesting because we can see that for yoga studio only, the economy is worth 88 billion currently, and it is expected to rise into 215 billion by 2025. And then wellness tourism, it is projected to be to reach $1.2 trillion by 2027. And due to the global pandemic of COVID-19, it is even boost the growth of this wellness-related business even further. And then what is interesting point here is the industry leaders of this high-speed growth wellness-related business are USA, UK, China, and Australia. Where is the Southeast Asian countries? They are not listed here. Yeah, unfortunately, China is the only ASEAN country that is considered as industry leaders in the global wellness-related businesses. None of Southeast Asian countries is considered as the industry leader of global wellness-related businesses. We have a lot of potential, but we don't get the benefit yet from the growth of the global wellness-related businesses. I would like to talk about wellness tourism in the post-pandemic. So I think all of us hope that this pandemic will soon be coped. So if the pandemic has been coped and the borders between countries has been open, I think many of us will interested to traveling again other countries, right, Jay? I think all of us will start planning. Oh, I would like to travel to wellness tourism destination. What about Bali? What about Malaysia, Sri Lanka, Singapore, India? Maybe this time I would like to travel related to wellness. Yeah, because even though COVID-19 can be curbed because of the vaccination. A lot of people got vaccinated and the borders are open. But I think we still have some worry in our mind that I could be caught by COVID again. So when we are thinking about travel, of course, we are going to give higher priority for wellness. Let's say like this, okay, I would like to take a risk to travel to other country for our well-being. Yeah, not just for fun, but for well-being. I would like to develop my whole well-being. That's why I would like to, I want to take a risk to travel to other countries, because I believe that by traveling to that country, I can develop my whole wellness. So I think traveling post-pandemic will be more about wellness tourism. So the priority will be given to wellness tourism instead of just leisure. So this will be a great potential in the future after the post-pandemic for all countries in Asia to develop further their country as a wellness tourism destination, because there is a huge trend for wellness tourism. Because during the COVID pandemic, I think Jane has already mentioned, a lot of us has to stay at home. We feel stressed, depressed. So of course, when we have a chance to travel, we would like to have wellness related travel. This is why some experts suggest that post-pandemic tourists will prefer to travel to rural areas where quiet and remote. And also social distancing is easy. Of course, if we are climbing the mountain and camp on the top of the mountain, social distancing is easy. And also it's easy for us to cope with stress from the pandemic and lockdowns. Tourists will also prefer to engage in spiritual reflection and wellness related activities in nature. And we also observe during the pandemic, there is a significantly high increase in demand in camp area. There are lots of local domestic tourists who book for camping area. So there are some camping areas in Bali that has been always fully booked during the pandemic. So it's a lot of domestic travelers prefer to go to a quiet place, rural areas to have a camp, to camping, and to have meditation in nature. So this is an increasing trend that I observe in Bali. I think this case is also happening in Malaysia, Singapore, Sri Lanka, not only in Bali. I believe that many people now prefer to be have a traveling to rural area to back to nature activities. They will prefer activity, this kind of activities, instead of traveling to big city or having. Sometimes we may have karaoke, but when we are all the time locked at home and have to stay at home, in the I think the first thing in our mind, I have to go outside, not to go to karaoke this time because it is still indoor, right? I need to have outdoor activities. I think that's the first priority that people have in mind when they are allowed to travel outside. I have to got to outside activities, close to nature, back to nature activities. This is the current trend. So in the wellness, I think Jane agree with me. Wellness is defined. We need to look wellness as a holistic view. In previous years, many people, if they talk about wellness, sometimes they view it separately. Physical wellness, if they have physical problem, they address physical wellness only, and don't address the mental problem, the spiritual problem. But we are, as the Eastern countries, most of Eastern countries, I think we used to view health and wellness as a holistic. We have a holistic viewpoint to see wellness. We cannot say if we get a stomach ache and then we tend to evaluate as well. Maybe we think we angry to someone before, that's why we got stomach ache. That's our ancestor way of thinking about wellness, right? We never think about health as a separate thing. We used to view wellness and health as a holistic point of view. So if we have a physical problem, maybe that there is a problem in your mind. Maybe you have negative thinking. That's why positive thinking is important, because it influences our physical things. So we taught by our ancestor in a lot of Eastern countries to view wellness as a holistic point of view. So if we have physical problem, we used to be told that we need to address as a holistic view. We need to fix our mental problem, our point of view, or the way we think before we address our physical problem. So that's a good thing that the wellness, even the Global Wellness Institute now has already take a holistic point of view to see wellness. But if we talk about the stakeholders of tourism stakeholders, particularly, a lot of tourism stakeholders still confused between medical tourism and wellness tourism. Even in Bali, tourism stakeholders in Bali, sometimes if they are talking about wellness, they say about building hospitals. Actually, that's building hospitals is more about medical tourism, not wellness tourism. If we look at our health as a dimension from poor health to good health, then a medical tourism fall into this poor health. If we have really poor health, of course, we need immediate intervention. We need to go to hospital. We need to go to get a medical intervention. So people travel to other countries to get cheaper medical costs with better quality. That's medical tourism. But if we talk about wellness tourism, it's more about preventive, proactive action. So we need to improve or to stay healthy. We are in a good condition, but we need to maintain that, and we need to improve that health condition. So wellness tourism fall into this category. Yeah, why I discuss the definition first, because it is very important before I moving forward to discuss about the product and the tourism, wellness tourism destination and so forth. If we look at this figure in this data from 2017, every destination, wellness tourism destination that has been acknowledged globally, we can see that only Malaysia and Thailand, India, Malaysia, Thailand, and India, China is listed there, Korea. Where is Bali? Bali has been acknowledged as a popular tourism destination, but not listed there. Indonesia is not listed there. So there is a gap here. In one side, we have lots of potential. We have rich culture, we have a rich culture related to wellness practices, but if we're talking about the businesses, wellness businesses, we haven't got the benefit yet from this potential. That's why there is a significant gap here. This is the case of Bali, how Bali developed wellness tourism and how Bali approach wellness. Yeah, this is actually the things that I present here has already been practiced in Bali, but not yet developed. So it is already offered by a small group of tourists. So it is not a big industry yet. So this is a potential. Okay, I explain this step as a tree, like a root. If in the root of the tree there is a beautiful natural asset, we have a beautiful natural asset. When I talk about Bali, I think this might also relevant to other countries. Yeah, like in Thailand, Malaysia, all of us have beautiful natural assets as our capital to develop wellness tourism. We have beautiful natural assets and rich history and cultural background. And then from that route, we could develop products that could be offered to wellness travelers as a unique and authentic experiences to wellness travelers. Yeah, I can say that could be unique because how the Western people perceive wellness currently, even until now, they still perceive wellness mostly related to physical things. So if we talk to Westerners, say about wellness, in their mind, they may think that spas, I go to the spas, fitness, all about physical things. Yeah, but maybe because they don't know yet about the holistical point of view of the wellness approach, like we have in many Asian countries. we could develop a concept, a product called healing in nature. So instead of having meditation and yoga indoor, we could offer meditation program in nature. Yeah, so actually meditation is a kind of program that help us understand ourselves better, to evaluate ourselves, to help us realize ourselves. And by having meditation in nature, we can better understand ourselves. In Bali, meditation in nature is approached by using several elements that is believed to be the element of our body and also the element of the universe, like water. We believe that our body is made of water. So if we want to understand more about ourselves, we have to improve our wellness. We need to be in contact with water by having water purification. So this is the form of meditation, as also in the view of point of Balinese. We view meditation not as sitting silent in indoor, but we view meditation as an active activities, like going to the holy or spring water bathing and having spring water bathing. We clean our body and at the same time we feel very good. We feel happy, and by doing that, we believe that we we do healing for the whole, not only the physical but also the mental body and the spiritual body. So this is called healing in nature approach. We use also native plants and forests for medicine, traditional medicine like turmeric and many other. In Bali it's called, in Indonesia it's called jamu, maybe in Malaysia also jami. We are used to take jamu first before seeing a doctor. So this is kind of historic cultural background that could help us develop a unique wellness tourism destination. And also some retreat, meditation and yoga retreat in Bali offer this kind of activities. When you come to this kind of retreat, you will given activities like gardening, walking along the rice terrace, the paddies terrace, and then having holy water bathing before having meditation on the top of the mountain. So activities, all activities that make us have a well connected with nature, Mother Earth. So this is how wellness tourism destination could be developed and offer unique, authentic experiences to wellness travelers. So, but there is a problem in developing this destination, a wellness tourism destination. Many people understand if we talking about wellness, they just know Ubud. Because of the film Eat, Pray, and Love, it was taken, one of the scene was taken in Ubud. That's why Ubud is very popular for yoga travelers to do meditation. Ubud is actually mean ubat in Balinese, it means medicine. So it used to be for a long generation, Ubud is the place to have healing, holistic healing. The problem is wellness tourism is too centralized in Ubud. It causes overcrowding and also economic leakage, where a lot of businesses are not owned by the local people, and also disconnected from local spiritual culture. As I said before, a lot of meditation programs are run indoor instead of outside in nature, that I explained before. And also there is a gap for digital and marketing skill. We have lots of potential, but we have limited skill to promote this, to inform this to the prospective travelers. So that's the problem. Okay, so this is our recommendation. We recommend that if we would like to develop a good wellness tourism destination, it should be developed as a community-based tourism. So by developing community-based wellness tourism, the benefit will be back to the community, and it could elevate poverty and bringing sustainable livelihood in the post-COVID period. So I suggest small-scale, locally run wellness tourism program, including meditation and spa in nature, not in the indoor. We have a lot of potential to develop this one. Okay, and then so community-based wellness tourism is the most ideal form of wellness tourism destination program. Yeah, we are actually working on developing this Holy community-based wellness tourism. It's called Holy Village. We are working with the community to assist them, to train them to develop their own village as their own community-based tourism. So I think that's the end of my presentation. I hope that the case of Bali could also inspire other countries to also develop wellness tourism destination to answer the trend, the high rise trend in wellness, need for wellness tourism in the world. So I think that's the end of my presentation. I hand it back to Irene. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Mrs. Mahini, for your information on wellness tourism potential in Bali. I actually live just an hour flight away from Bali, but I haven't had the chance to visit Bali since 2019, but I definitely will come back and visit Bali again after this pandemic. All right. I want to play this rapid fire questions again with you because there's an Indonesian proverb saying that tak kenal maka tak sayang.
Yes.
Do not know, then do not love. So we really want to know you better this time. All right, I'll give you options again, and then you can just pick either one of it. All
Sure.
right. Okay. Mountain or beach?
Mountain.
Oh, okay. All right. This one is a hard one, actually. Bali or Jakarta?
Bali, of course.
All right. Which one is more important for you, actually? Healthy eating or exercise?
Healthy eating.
All right. What's your favorite place in Bali?
Ubud.
Oh, okay. Ubud is actually my favorite place as well in Bali.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Mahuni. And now we'll have to.
Thank you.
If any of you have any questions for Ms. Mahuni or other speakers, you can always drop it to Slido. The link is on the chat column. And now we're in the Q&A session. We will divide the Q&A session into two parts. The first session, we will have it with Mr. Lakmal and Mr. Edmund, followed by the second session with Ms. Jane and Mrs. Mahuni. All right, okay, so the first session, this question is actually from myself for both Mr. Lakmal and Mr. Edmund. Okay, so for the startup context, actually, especially the startup who are still in early stages, like myself, we are still in bootstrapping or early stage. Of course, we want to adapt and agile during this new normal. However, the startups don't have the resources. We have limited finance, we have limited time, we also have limited human resources. Do you have any tips for startups to stay agile during this new normal and economy 4.0?
Maybe Lakmal, you would like to start first?
Yes, first, definitely. Okay, when it comes to ICT industry specifically, the startups, I have noticed in many countries, including Indonesia, because I was very frequently visiting Indonesia, Jakarta, during my tenure. When we are doing some things with ASEAN Secretariat. So what I realized was, in terms of ICT industry, actually it was pretty simple for people to move into the kind of working from anywhere culture. actually, one of the key things that we have noticed, specifically in the corporate sector, let me start with the corporate sector so that it explains the startup culture as well. So mainly what we did as employer to employees, we allow them to kind of pick and go their seat, their chair at office, and their monitors at office, or whatever they are comfortable with working with. Actually, we allowed them to kind of have them at their home. So basically, we allowed them to kind of take them. I mean, we even facilitated to transport them into their home and kind of start working on top of it. And I'm sure that is difficult for startup, but yet one of the key things that we can do with startup culture is make sure that we allow the employee some mechanism of collaboration. So one of the key things, if you are very much physical, interactive and all that during the pre-COVID situation, you can kind of bring in some collaborative tool. There are enough and more open source tools which is available in the market, and in the same time, Microsoft and even Zoom came up with free versions of theirs and added more features on top of it. So startups, to make sure that start with something like that, so that they can kind of allow their employees to collaborate on top of it. And from the other side of it, I think from the business perspective, how to support startups, of course, in terms of government, in terms of our government, we even have created a web portal where it allows startups to register, and government has encouraged the organizations, the government organization, the public sector, to kind of purchase things, the systems, and even things like stationery or even services out of these startups which is registered in that portal. So actually that is something actually we must do in order to support startup. Even now, anything below 2 million Sri Lanka rupees, that is about $15,000 below, it's more preference is given to the startups, and even they can get about 20-30% marks when the government organization evaluate it against enterprise. So that kind of facilitation has to be done from each and every government.
Yeah, if I were to just add to Lakmal's points, I think startups actually are in a very good place if you look at staying agile. Why? Because startups are small. Startups are not entrenched in layers and layers of bureaucracy that has been built over so many decades, right? There's some companies, large MNCs that we consult for, that they're like 200 years old, you know. So if you are 200-year-old company, you can imagine the amount of processes, systems, doctrines, policies, and what have you not, that is going to make, you know, you being agile and ability to adapt so much more difficult. So I think startups have, you know, they're in a very good place to move very fast and to adopt very quickly. Just like Lakmal said, you know, the ecosystem, especially even from government supporting startups for a lot of countries, is very is thriving, is very active, is very progressive. Over here in Singapore, I'm not sure, you know, for your location. I mean, where are you now? You're in Australia, are you?
In Indonesia.
Sorry?
I'm in Indonesia.
Indonesia, right? So I'm not very sure about the government stance and the support they give for Indonesian startups, tech startups, and things like that. I would like to think that there should be quite a few different initiatives to support and provide even some financial funding for startups. You know, I know that Indonesia's tech startup environment is thriving. You know, so I think please explore those to see what resources, even financial resources, are given to startups. I think the key thing is the communication, the usage of platforms, which a lot of them are free. You know, obviously you get to a stage where if you need some of those additional features, then it's a little bit of a small investment. But you know, having said all that, I think the ability to keep open and not build too excessive bureaucratic layers are important for startups to stay agile.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts about staying agile for startups. Okay, right. We'll now move to the questions from the audience. We already have a few questions. All right. So we've got one question actually. Oh, no, a few questions actually for Lakmal and Edmund. Maybe we'll answer the first one first for Lakmal. How to support employees working from home, as in some ways it is harder than employees in the office. For example, it's kind of similar to my previous question actually for a small startup company.
Yeah, I will little add on top of what I was indicating before. So I mean, if you take, I mean, some of you may have been in my Facebook. I've been posting some photos because at the very early stages of this COVID-19, I didn't even had a home office because we were never doing that. I mean, after office hours, we were very relaxed in terms of work. So earlier the stages, okay, even my kid is running around and he's trying to, I mean, kids also didn't understood, okay, what's going to happen, right? When the parents are at home, okay, they are on top of them, and basically it's fun time, but when you have meetings and so on and so forth, it becomes more and more difficult. So as startups or even at the corporates, yes, it is harder for certain employees to manage the work from home because of many environmental factors. Maybe more than the technology factors, it's environment. Sometimes they don't have home office and they don't have space for home office, and even don't have enough space where you can isolate yourself from kids and so on and so forth. So one of the very important thing as an employer, that you have to give some flexibility, and you have to understand the situation of the employee. Because I remember at the very beginnings of stage, my CEO was Danish, and he has enough and more space at his home. So he was kind of really frustrated when kid was shouting and so on and so forth. But eventually, within about 2-3 weeks, he also understood, of course, yes, not that everybody was ready for this kind of situation. Now, actually, even sometimes when kids are playing around and so on and so forth, but he doesn't even bother about it, because he is trying to focus on what I am going to tell them. So number one is, as an employer, employer has to be very understanding on top of their employee's situation. And second, as I indicated, so whatever the support that you can bring in, the equipment, the stationery, chairs, tables, and monitors, and so on, and connectivity, especially. So all of that needs to be facilitated to the employees. I know it's difficult as a startup, but at least the technology perspective, the collaboration tool, and the connectivity has to be given to the employee. And thirdly, when you are kind of moving out of this situation, you have to make sure that, okay, you facilitate furthermore, and make a kind of think of a mechanism where you can reduce the cost of the corporate office and transfer certain amount of benefits out of that cost reduction to the employee side. For example, we recently started giving out better headsets with noise cancellation and all to whomever the employee who is requesting. So likewise, this kind of things needs to be done to kind of ease out the work of the employee.
All right, Mr. Lakmal, thank you. Next question is from Tanti. So as we all know, that COVID-19 effect is it has limit people movement, and it also has a great impact to business and also human nature interaction. All right. Do you have any tips, maybe if we all have co-workers who are conservative and reluctant to change? What's the best approach to convince these people to adapt to change? Maybe Mr. Lakmal and Mr. Edmund can answer this question.
Okay. Lakmal, maybe I will start first.
Yes, go ahead.
Right. So change. it's a small word, but it's a big word, right? And I think Jane talked a little bit about change. We do a lot of change and transition management work. My experience the past 20 years is probably one of the most important areas that a lot of corporations, a lot of businesses and their leaders fail to recognize the importance of change. So a lot of times communication is done top down, communicating change. Now, communicating change are worlds apart from getting people to embrace the change. Just because you communicate the change does not mean that your employees are going to embrace the change. Now, the common phrase that has been going around for donkey years is people are very resistant to change. I politely disagree. People are not resistant to change. People are resistant to what they do not understand. If you understand that change is good for you, why would you be resistant to it? If you understand that the change is going to help you raise your salary, right, make it more employable, would you be resistant to that change? Obviously not. So people are resistant to what they do not understand. People are not resistant to change. So therefore, helping them understand what change is necessary, helping them to arm them on how to manage and cope with that change, and for supervisors and managers and leaders, how they, in those supervisory, managerial, and leadership positions can effect change positively, is something that that organizations need to look into, right? Because you cannot assume that everyone knows how to cope with change and everybody knows how to manage and lead change. That is a very wrongful assumption, right? So I think that change topic needs to be looked at very seriously. It is both a science and an art, right? And we do a lot of work in those areas. With regards to the more conservative or the slightly more senior aged employees, people in the workforce, I say the same thing, and that is help them understand that this change is here and now, and that it is something that's inevitable, and there's something that is good for them. So the real key and the real, the real art to it is how do we help them understand that this change is beneficial for them. Then we go into the technical aspects of how they can manage and cope and arm themselves to embrace that change. So I think first thing first, we need to understand that communicating is not enough, that helping them understand, then manage, and then arm them with the necessary know-how and the technical stuff and the support to help them be what we call as ambassadors of change. Ambassadors of change does not necessarily equate to that person who is in the corner office on the highest floor of their building, right, the C-suite. No, ambassadors of change can be everyone, and it should be everyone. Because like what Jane mentioned, look after yourself before you want to talk about others. So same thing, right? Self-leadership and change, affecting yourself first before you look about change for others. So I hope I have to shed some insights into that simple question.
I have a very, very quick and short statement on that. I think number one is our management and the leadership should convince to embrace and change the perspective of their employees on change. So I mean that's simply that's where you have to start.
Okay, all right, thank you. Maybe we'll answer one more question from the audience. All right, we have a questions from Steffi Tarigan for Edmund, Mr. Edmund. What would be the impact for finance or accounting profession in the new era, since the majority of Indonesian students in Curtin University is majoring in this in accounting and finance? Still, this major will be popular in the future, or will this major shift into another major? Right, thank you.
Right, that's a very popular question that's asked to me. I remember last year I was doing another webinar. I was presenting more or less along the same topic of the disruptive age and all these things to CPA Australia. So the audience at that time was mostly all their students and their members. Now, So if you remember the slide I shared about the stable jobs, the redundant jobs, and the new jobs, right? Okay, and I made the point that some of these jobs that are going to be redundant, especially those with elements who are of very low value add, administrative in nature, you know, because there's no denying that such jobs, you know, that can be done through automation, through software, are going to be made redundant, because if you're a business leader, that's what you will do. You will not have jobs that can be done by software and by machines and by automation that cost a lot lesser, right? So unless you're a business leader that just wants to spend unnecessary money, right? But I don't think there are that many organization leaders that do that. Now, I don't think those jobs are, you know, with particular focus on this question, accounting, financial. I don't think jobs. I really don't think those jobs are going to disappear forever. I think what we're talking about is those jobs that are being done in its traditional current form will start to become redundant, and that those jobs will have to take on new elements, right? So the real question is, if I'm doing that kind of job, or if I'm studying for a course of study that is addressing that job in its current form, am I still relevant when I graduate? Sorry to say this, it will be less relevant. It may be still relevant in some companies who do it the same way, but then I worry for those companies. But you'll be less relevant as companies evolve and the jobs in those companies evolve, right? So the question is, the course of study that we are in for this particular kind of career or professions, you know, does it embrace or does it have elements of those new dimensions for those jobs? So that is the real question you should be asking. I like to think that Curtin, at least when those days in which I took my courses, and I did my master's in electronic commerce in year 2000. So in 20 years ago, I already knew convincingly, without a single doubt, that e-commerce and the internet, there was no such thing called the Internet of Things 20 years ago, you know. But 20 years ago, whatever I studied in my master in electronic commerce, and I believe I was a second batch, are totally redundant today. They're no longer relevant. Why? Because it's been 20 years, and the way in which the internet has evolved and the e-commerce sphere and what defines e-commerce have evolved so much, right? So same thing, the moment you leave university and graduate from Curtin with, be it a finance or accounting degree, you will start to become irrelevant because things change, right? Things move and they continue to move. So it is, you have to take the onus on yourself to, you know, continue to learn new skills and knowledge, technology, platforms and solutions that comes with your industry, that comes with your job. Because if not, then you will make yourself redundant if the redundancy doesn't affect you first.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Edmund, for sharing your thoughts on the future of accounting and finance. So for Steffi, don't forget to stay positive, stay faithful, and stay relevant. All right, now let's move to the second stage, second session, Q&A session with Ms. Jane and Mrs. Mahyuni. We'll answer maybe question from Anna Yusman. This one is to Ms. Jane. How is domestic violence regarding economic situation in Malaysia during this pandemic? Maybe you want to share.
Okay. Well, in my opinion, there's two ways to look at this. Number one, people get angry and frustrated, and a lot of people have anger management issues because we are not taught how to release or communicate better. So first and foremost, in my opinion, domestic violence happens everywhere, and it's a real problem. But to people who are experiencing domestic violence, the moment someone raises their voice with you, then we need to stand up for ourselves, to tell them, hey, you don't need to shout. I can hear you. You know, I hear you just fine. If you keep shouting, I'm going to put down the phone or I'm going to exit this room. Right, and we need to know how to vacate ourselves from the situation. you know, and I always believe in self-care. Don't put yourself into this situation. And very importantly, if you are in this situation, then exit quickly and swiftly without aggravating more problems, right? People stay in battered relationships for a myriad of reasons. And I think it's important for us to be able to be honest with ourselves. Are you really happy in this space? Are you really happy in this relationship? If not, just go. I don't think domestic violence in Malaysia is any worse than anywhere else in the world. I think it's the same. I also think that it's important for us to be able to stand up for ourselves and believe that everything will be okay, right? Just take good care of yourself. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Ms. Jackie.
By the way, I would want to answer a bit of what Edmund said just now about the impact of finance and accounting profession in the new era, because I graduated finance and marketing. I think, like, to add on to what Edmund has said, the accounting and finance profession, how do you study money, how do you read the data will always be very relevant. But the application is very important. To come up with the data, like today, like plus and minus, you know, I don't know whether you guys remember, we used to add it by ourselves, but today, because we have a calculator and now we have our phone, so, you know, it's so much easier. But how do we use the numbers is very important in any business. Finance is about using the numbers. Accounting is about what does the numbers tell you, right? So I think the portion about churning that information might be taken away by the computers, but to really study the information and how does it apply to our future, our business, what we want to do about it, how we want to use our money, this is fluid. And I think there will always be a usage for this. So if you're an accounting and finance student, or you're studying finance, I think it's very relevant, very useful, but please apply it. Use it. Like what Edmund say, you know, don't be redundant. You got to know how to use it, right? So I think this is something very important. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Ms. Jai. We'll answer another question. This one is for Mrs. Mahyuni. This question is from Irina. How can we make a movement to support or work, collaborate with government to increase the Indonesia wellness tourism, knowing that China has pretty much dominated the wellness tourism, since we all believe that Indonesia has a huge potential in wellness tourism. Do you want to share your thoughts on this question, Mrs. Wahyuni?
Okay, thank you, Bu Irina. I think that's a good idea, because wellness tourism, I think, is part of sustainable tourism movement. We need to improve much better tourism that incorporate environmental preservation and local culture preservation. By developing wellness tourism, this is a very good way to develop tourism, the economy, and at the same time preserve the local environment and also local culture. So I think where to start from, we can start from our closest community. If we are a lecturer, we can develop a program working with the community. We can, I think if we are a lecturer, we have a community outreach program. We can start from our closest community to help them develop, to understand their potential. I totally agree that we are, as Asia countries, should be #1 country in terms of wellness. But why America there? Why Australia? It should be Asia. So we need to go hand in hand to develop this, unleash this huge potential to develop. This is a much better form of tourism compared to mass tourism that we have developed so far. We have developed mass tourism in most Asian countries that create a lot of problems, pollution, destruction, to the environment. By developing wellness tourism, I think that's an ideal form of tourism. We can preserve the environment and local culture. So let's start this movement from this alumni. We can go hand in hand and make a movement together to make it great movement in Asia, make it Asia on the top list of great wellness tourism destination, top tourism, wellness tourism destination in the world. I think we have all the same potential. We all Asian countries have rich cultures, tradition, healing traditions, and also beautiful nature. We have it all. We have huge potential. We need to go hand in hand to promote this type of tourism. This is a very good type of tourism. If we are talking about sustainability, sustainable development goals, this is ideal form of tourism, I think. And then we can start from our closest community that actually I'm currently doing with our local community by inviting the local community to map their potential. Maybe they have a waterfall, unique place to have meditation in nature, healing in nature. We can develop this type of program is our uniqueness, wellness, Asia wellness tourism uniqueness by introducing the concept of wellness in nature. Instead of doing meditation and yoga in a room, we can offer a type of meditation, active meditation in nature, not only by sitting silence, but also by doing physical activities in nature, by feeling reconnecting with Mother Earth, by having bathing, holy water bathing, and by having walking in the forest, feeling connection with Mother Earth. I think it is a interesting approach to have meditation, to have holistic well-being by reconnect ourselves to Mother Earth, to the element of Mother Earth, to the water, to forest, feeling the energy of the Mother Earth. I think we can develop this type of tourism in Asia. We go hand in hand. We can start from Curtin Alumni Asia. That's a good idea, Jane. Thanks for the idea. We can start from ourselves.
Yeah, and I think
Thank you.
like in terms of Asia, right? Like Singapore does really well in promoting. You know, like we have Singapore Sling, Singapore Girls. You know, like they're doing really well in promoting. And I think to answer your question, Mahuni, the reason why we are not more popular is because our promotional efforts are not.
Yes, that's our
that's
biggest
where
weaknesses.
we fail in that sense, or that's where we can improve. So I think it could be a fantastic effort, you know, because like Curtin Alumni Asia, this could be like one of our signature, you know, events of the year once we can travel. Actually, that was what I was planning together with Harry, to do like one in Malaysia, one in, so we just travel, you know, like every country, right? So it could be like we could actually incorporate like healing in nature as our theme. You know, so that can be a staple. So like when we do like a Curtin Asia conference, so not only do we learn about business, learn about wellness, we also have this healing in nature segment, you know, because we were planning to come to Langkawi first. You know, we were supposed to do the Langkawi trip last year in October, and we were planning that, and then COVID happened.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Maybe we should really do the offline event. Maybe one in Malaysia, another one in Bali, and maybe another one in other places as well.
I go to Singapore, and then go to Sri Lanka, and then we go to Hong Kong. You know, and then we go back to Malaysia again. You know, do one round. So every 5 years or 6 years or so, and then don't forget Perth. You know, we need to go to Perth too.
Yes, totally. All right. Okay. And I also want to remind everyone to fill up the attendance form. The link is on the column chat. And also, we've got a few announcements. For those of you who are looking to obtain a certificate from this event, don't forget to fill up the list of attendees. And also, if you're looking to access this video after this webinar, you can always check our YouTube channel. It's called CUACI YouTube channel. All right, next. All right, we also, if any of you, if maybe your brother or sister or niece or nephew thinking to have a further study at Curtin University, you can contact Patricia Kelly for Curtin Australia, and also Jeffrey Peter for Curtin Malaysia. And we have a announcement as well. This one is from Curtin Malaysia. They currently offer postgraduate studies in international business, policy science, project management, public health, sustainable agriculture, Master of Philosophy, and also Doctor of Philosophy. And this one is, there is also a TGS webinar, Employability 2022, and also beyond. Jane, do you have anything to add for this webinar?
Yeah, this particular webinar is talking about ASEAN Australian. So Thompson, he's our award-winning alumni from Malaysia. So he's really passionate about this. So it's really about employability and beyond in 2022. So if you want to go for this one, theglobalstudent.org, you can go look for Jan Drew. So she's the director of the Global Student.
All right, thank you.
She's an Australian in Malaysia at this point.
All right, thank you. All right, this one is from Curtin Alumni Singapore. They're hosting their annual general meeting on 27th of March 2021, which is next Saturday. So if any of you who hasn't connected with Curtin Alumni, who are in Singapore and hasn't connected with Curtin Singapore Alumni, please scan the barcode so you can join the AGM. Maybe Mr. Edmund, you have anything to add on this?
Yeah, so just a very quick one. So the AGM is coming up next Saturday, 27th. It is an election year, so there will be some changes to the key office bearers. But other than that, I think it's always good to catch up, even though it's online, with your fellow alumni members in Singapore. So for those who are here and based in Singapore, we welcome you to come register for the event. Sign up through the QR code. Thanks.
All right. Okay, so also next is from CUACI. For those of you who don't know, CUACI is selling a few merchandise. We have calendar, we have batik, we have hand sanitizer. So if you want to check out our store, please scan the barcode. And also for CUACI Creativity Challenge, the winner will be announced on the 30th of April next month. And we also have a great total of 800 children participating in this competition. So well done, everyone. All right, so don't forget to follow, like, and also subscribe Curtin Alumni Singapore social media channels. They have Facebook, they have Instagram, they also have LinkedIn account. And also this one is for Curtin Malaysia, Curtin Alumni Malaysia. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow their social media account as well. And of course, Curtin Alumni Sri Lanka, they have a Facebook and Instagram account. And if any of you want to contact Lakmal after this event, you can reach him through his email. Right, and this one is from Curtin Alumni Hong Kong. They have a Facebook account, and Ms. Ruby Chu is the president. If any of you want to contact her further. All right, and this one is Curtin Alumni Indonesia social media account. We have Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and also YouTube channel. All right, okay, all right, everyone. We'll now have the photo session. So please turn on your camera. All right, thank you, everyone. Apologies that this webinar is actually an hour late, but I really hope that every single one of you enjoyed this webinar. Thank you for your time. Thank you for all the speakers for attending this webinar. We look forward meeting every single one of you in the next Asia Alumni Network event. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Lakmal. Thank you, Edmund. Thank you, Jane. Thank you, Yuri. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
See you next time.